So in this video, we'll be taking a look at the new Philips Hue White and Color Ambient Starter Kit, as well as the new Philips Lightstrip Plus and their extension LED strips. Now, I've already done a bunch of videos on the Philips Hue Lighting products, but since a couple of these new second generation products have hit the shelves, I wanted to get them in for comparison and to go over some of the major differences to see if they're worthy of upgrading to. So with the new starter kit comes a new bridge, and the bridge is now Apple Homekit enabled. From what I understand, this is basically just a protocol that devices use, which allow them to talk to each other and communicate with each other and to be controlled from a single HomeKit compatible app. Now, I don't know of any apps now or use any currently. There might be some in the store, and Apple hasn't released their own home app yet, but for now, it at least allows us to be able to control the lights using Siri. Now, the new light bulbs you get are now rated at 800 lumens, where the old ones were only 600 lumens. So that's a 30% increase in brightness, supposedly, and we'll check that later on in the video. Also, the newer bulbs consume 10 watts each versus 8.5 for the older ones. It does say on the box here that the lights last for 25,000 hours, although on Philips' website, it still only says 15,000, even on the newer bulbs. And the older bulbs were rated at 15,000 as well, so take it for what it's worth. And finally, Philips mentioned that internal storage on these newer light bulbs was increased for quote-unquote added functionality. I don't really know what that means, and I wasn't able to find any detail about it, but it is something that they note in their marketing material. Now, there are some minor physical differences as well. So you can see the bridge here is now square with the bigger connect button, and it's more or less the same overall size as the older round bridge. The new bulbs also now say white and color ambience on them and indicate 800 lumens on the side versus the 600 lumen rated bulbs that I have that I mentioned earlier. So the new starter pack now sells for $199, and you can find the older ones for $169. The other upgraded lights they released is their LED light strip, now called the Lightstrip Plus. They still sell for $90, and the newer light strips can produce up to 1600 lumens at 4500K. And are able to produce a functional white light temperature range. The old LED light strips had a maximum brightness of only 120 lumens and didn't have the ability to produce your kind of normal white light range. I'll show you what I mean about this later in the video. Now, the newer light strips are also slightly thicker with bigger LEDs in the strip and appear to have less LEDs overall on them than the old strip. But the new LEDs are also flanked on each side by some even smaller lights, which I'm assuming is what allows it to have the bigger white light range. On the light strips, the control module is now put a lot closer to the strip compared to the older one, and the power cord on the new one is about 8.5 feet long, which is a couple feet less than the old one. You can also cut the new strips down to size where you see a scissor indicator on the strip here, about every 12 inches or so. The new Lightstrip Plus also has the ability to add extension strips to it, and each 40-inch extension sells for $30. Which saves you from having to buy a bunch of $90 strips depending on where you're going to install it or your personal application. The Lightstrip Plus itself is 6.5 feet long, and you can add up to 10 40-inch extensions to the light strip, giving you a total possible length of 40 feet. So that's nice, although this would cost you almost $400. But I'm going to get everything hooked up and show you some comparison shots at night versus the older lights, as well as give you a cool little Siri demo, and then you can see and judge for yourself how good the improvements are. So first we're going to start with the A19 bulbs. So here I put them both, the new one and an old one, in the light fixtures above my bar. And I'm going to let you kind of guess which one is the new one, see if you can tell. So it's the new bulb is actually on the right, and you can tell it's maybe 5% brighter. Only on that white color is really where you can tell. Once it started scrolling through the colors though, any color difference or any difference in brightness really was not really noticeable to me at all. Now, I apologize I don't have the low light lens. The camera's kind of doing the best it can. This is the best we're going to be able to show, but I will tell you that this is pretty accurate of what it looked like to me in person, at least relative to each other, the bulbs relative to each other. One area where I could notice it was difference is here when you can see where I'm dimming the lights down. The newer bulb on the right did get to a lower dim level, and it would come on at a lower dim level too when you would slide from all the way off and then dim it to its brightness or to its brightest level. And I want to show you a further away shot just so you can kind of see, not really making it up. There's not any kind of 30% increase in brightness, I wouldn't say. But I was able to put my head under and look directly under the lights, and I will say that the newer bulb did seem brighter to my eyes when I compared it looking directly at the older bulb. And here I just want to show you, kind of cycling through the colors. I was hoping maybe the newer bulb would be a little bit brighter on the colors, or somehow be a little bit more saturated on some of the blues and greens, but I didn't notice any difference at all on that. Like I say, that it was very minimal difference in the brightness level. The only major difference was in the dimming ability. Slight difference there, but nothing to really write home about. And so I had these in my light fixtures, and it made me think like maybe the enclosure was kind of blocking some of the brightness down. So what I did do is I put them in a lamp without a shade, and I'll show you that here and let you kind of guess which one's which. So if you had to guess, which one would you think it was? Actually, the bottom light here is the newer bulb. So again, not a huge difference, maybe 5%, 10% at most, but nothing striking or, you know, easily noticeable just looking at it. I don't think anybody would even really notice unless you told them which one it was and they inspected it really, really close. So I was surprised to see this, and you know, a little bit disappointed at the same time. Definitely not a 30% improvement, but like I was hoping for. But you know, just wanted to show you that anyway. Next, I wanted to show you a comparison of the old Lightstrip and the new Lightstrip Plus. This is where differences became more obvious to me and the upgrade a lot more worthwhile in my opinion. The new Lightstrip here, you can see on the right hand side, can reach 1600 lumens at its whitest light brightest setting, which you can see is a lot brighter than the 120 lumens given off by the older strip on the left. You can also see in the dark where the newer strip appears to have less LEDs, and you can kind of clearly notice this when comparing the two side by side, which might give you the impression that the older strip is better. But I'll tell you that in person and when cycling through the colors, they do give off an equal amount of color and uniformity. And when I installed it behind my bed, I couldn't really tell the LEDs were further apart at all. And I think this would be the case no matter where you install them, so under your counter or, you know, underneath your couch or bed or something like that. It's going to still give off the even color dispersion. Now where the Lightstrip Plus really excelled over the older strip was when it came to the range of dimmability, as you can see here. There's a lot more range in the lowest, you know, dim setting where it can get really, really, really low, whereas the older Lightstrip kind of just turns off. And also in its ability to produce the different functional color temperatures. One big thing about the Lightstrip Plus, and I just want to show you this on the actual Philips app, but if you see here, now on the old Lightstrip, you can't really drag it up into this white color temperature range near the top of the app, which is what gives you the warm and cool white color light ability. Instead, it just stays on the one single white color. But what's good about the Lightstrip Plus is that you can now drag it up into the white color temperature range, which gives the Lightstrip a lot more functional light. This made a huge difference in the amount of light given off in my bedroom, and also made the lighting just nicer overall, as the new strip can now give off some usable light and not just be used simply as an accent color. Again, the brightness difference between the two was most apparent when set at certain white light temperatures and gold colors, but also on a few specific colors like violets and greens. The Lightstrip Plus just performed and looked better overall, which was unfortunately hard to demonstrate with my camera. Another big difference was that I could actually see a lot more light being given off behind my bed during the day, and just when comparing the lights side by side during the day. So all this and the ability to add extensions, the Lightstrip Plus is a clear winner and a welcome improvement to me by Philips. So here's a shot of the LED Lightstrip Plus with the 40-inch attachment. And you can see this compared to the old Lightstrip to the left there that's turned off. You can see one extension extends a pretty good amount. Now, I did want to mention one thing. As you can see these colors, you can see it looks okay, blue, but there was some colors actually where the middle light strip there was messed up. Now I thought this maybe was a bad connection, so I kept plugging it and replugging it in, but I think it's just a, some bad wiring in there, because when I bend this down, it fixes it. You know, there's no way to really get it in there. It's not the connection, but it's like the wiring or something in there, because when I bend that, it makes the contact. But anyway, this is a little bit of a bummer. It's not to say that all the Philips extensions are going to be messed up. You know, sometimes with electronics, you just get a faulty one and you have to RMA it or return it. But I haven't seen a lot of these issues online where people were saying that. I think just happened to get a bad strip here. Anyways, just wanted to point that out. So I just wanted to kind of demonstrate the Siri integration with the Hue lights. So I'll just do a couple quick demos here. Hey Siri, turn all the lights off.
Okay, the lights are turned off.
Hey Siri, turn all the lights on.
Okay, the lights are turned on.
So one of the limitations of the Siri is the scenes are limited to only 12 lights for some reason. Now they will probably fix that in an update soon, hopefully, or with Homekit once that app is released. But right now you can only you have a limit of 12 lights per scene, so that's kind of a bummer. The other thing is you can't control a group of lights, so you can't set up a group to control. So you can't just group all your lights in the kitchen and say turn kitchen off, so that's kind of unfortunate too. But anyways, I'm just going to demo the rest of the things you can kind of do. So for example, hey Siri, turn bar 1 light red.
Your wish is my command, and low, red.
Hey Siri, turn bar 2 light off.
Okay, the bar 2 is turned off.
So you can see you got to use kind of a lot of syntax. So now you can also set scenes. So, hey Siri, set a sunset.
Sunset, coming right up.
Hey Siri, set a deep sea.
Your wish is my command, and low, deep sea.
Hey Siri, set a party.
All right, I've prepared your home for party.
Hey Siri, turn all lights red.
Your wish is my command, and low, red.
Hey Siri, dim the lights.
Okay, I set all of the lights to 75.
Hey Siri, set the lights to 20%.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you restate that?
Hey Siri, dim the lights to 20%.
Okay, I set all of the lights to 20.
So that's just a quick demo there, and you can see you have to actually already be in the Siri app or call it by holding down the home button. The other thing is too, actually, if you have your phone plugged in, so if you have the Hey Siri thing enabled, as long as your phone's plugged in, you don't have to press any buttons. Your phone can be locked. So let me just show you here. I'm not gonna be able to. Well, I can prop it probably like this. Hey Siri, turn all the lights off.
Okay, the lights are turned off.
So that's kind of cool. So you see your phone doesn't actually have to be on. You can just turn it off and it will kind of awaken up with the Hey Siri. It's almost just easier. It's kind of a novelty. It's kind of cool that it does work, but sometimes it's just easier just use the setup and use the app arrangements and the quick switches, especially like the widgets like I showed in my other Hue Part 2 video. If you guys want to check that out, Living with the Whole Apartment Part 2, it shows you kind of the best way to set up. So the Siri integration is pretty cool, but you can see there is a couple limitations with the 12 lights per scene, and you can't really control groups, and then obviously it doesn't work perfectly every time, so that can be very frustrating and a little bit annoying. But when it does work, it's pretty sweet. So overall, there's definitely some improvement with the second generation Hue lights, but with the regular bulbs, not as much as I had hoped for. The newer bulbs are slightly brighter, but only on a specific white light temperature color, and all the other colors kind of looked exactly the same to me. The LED strips, though, are definitely an improvement, and in either case, if you're adding or buying Hue lights for the first time, I'd recommend waiting and at least trying to get the new generation ones as they become available, because they are sold out a lot of places right now. Also, HomeKit is a nice added feature with the new bridge, so if you have any other HomeKit-enabled devices like security cameras or thermostats or door locks, they'll all be able to work and communicate together and have certain events or triggers that are all able to do all kinds of cool stuff, with even more options for that in the future. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Please leave a thumbs up if you have a quick second, and you all take care.